Welcome to Authentic Leader Life. Today, it's about 10 seminar whys to set your first-time manager up for success. Now that you have hired or promoted your first-time manager, these are the 10 things that I do to help you set them up for success. First-time managers now realize that managing their teams is different from what they thought it would be. The Authentic Leader Show is the podcast for first-time managers as they transform into authentic leaders of high-performing teams. A study by Gartner showed that 60% of new managers fail within the first 24 months. Now, I was promoted to my first-time manager role. It was about 25 years ago, and I made it just over 2 years, struggling to figure out how to lead my team. Now, I may be one person validation as an example of 60% of new managers failing within 24 months. But in the 10 years of formally coaching managers, and really even through observation earlier in my career, in my professional opinion, I think that that's about right. First-time managers are not set up for success, but I don't think it's intentionally. Managers of these first-time managers, they simply don't have the time or a training curriculum to set them up for success. Most first-time managers are set up to learn on the job. They just assume that they'll figure it out. And why shouldn't you assume that they will just figure it out? Because after all, many of these first-time managers, they were high performers in their previous roles. But as we know, it's not that easy. I have a summit for first-time managers. It's the audience that I hear most about from the leader coaching clients that I have. It's also everything that I wish I had known as a first-time manager. My summits are unlike any other summit, workshop, or conference you have ever attended. And I know that that sounds like I'm giving you a sales pitch. I do a lot in my summits that others simply don't do. I make them very unique. And I want to share with you not only what the 10 aspects are, but also explain why they are intentional and unique to the First-Time Manager Summit. So here are my 10 whys that this summit is like no other. Well, first, number one is the summit is an in-person summit. Now, that's not entirely unique, but post-COVID, it's a little unique. There is simply nothing like learning in person. And I've done online workshops and training programs over the last several years, and some are perfectly acceptable as online programs. But I believe that first-time managers, they need an additional connection with other first-time managers who are really kind of in their same boat. I also can provide more personalized and in-the-moment coaching as necessary in an in-person environment. Number 2 out of 10 is that this is targeted specifically to first-time managers. When I say first-time managers, we're talking about those who are newly promoted, who were former top performers, and really those who are transitioning into owning their new role as a first-time manager. It's important to be very specific about who this summit is for. It's not just for any manager. It's specifically for first-time managers to provide them with the foundational systems and tools and frameworks that are necessary to successfully lead high-performing teams. So on to number 3 is it's 2 days in January. It's a full 2-day summit. And I'll be covering the 7 key disciplines for all first-time managers and what they need to lead high-performing teams. And it just simply takes 2 days to give first-time managers what they need to succeed. This isn't a New Year's resolution kind of summit. It is a start of the year off right. And we want to start the year off right at a time when first-time managers' attention is not competing with everything else that's happening at the end of the year. Now, number 4 is that this summit, it's limited to 10 first-time managers. I want to keep this summit small so that I can provide individualized attention. At 10 participants, I can get to know everyone in the summit and get to know their unique needs and challenges. I've done programs as small as 3 and as large as 100. And I've learned from the decades of programs that for this summit, 10 is really the magic number. Number 5 is that I provide a unique workbook. Now, my workbooks, I believe, are like no other workbook because they are designed to keep every participant engaged throughout the entire summit because they can follow along with fill in the blank and replicatable exercises. When I say replicatable, I mean that they can take it back to their teams and they can reuse many or almost all of the exercises that we do in the summit. They can use them with their teams. The workbook is also designed to be a reference tool for the coming weeks, months, and even years ahead that participants can go back to as a valuable resource tool. And like I said, the workbook is designed to help them with exercises in the summit and be able to use these exercises with the managers' teams when they go back to their teams. Now, number 6 is it's proven tools, systems, and framework. Now, this summit is not based on theory. Now, I believe that there is a place for learning management and leadership theory. That's just not what this summit is. The tools, systems, and framework that are taught in the summit are the same that I have learned and implemented in the 25 plus years that I've been trying them with the teams that I lead. And not only that, these are the exact same proven tools, systems, and framework that I've taught my leadership clients to use with their teams. There are literally decades of proof that these methods actually work. Number 7 is the opportunity to practice these exercises in a safe environment. And it's not setting the manager up for success to provide the concept, the tools, systems, or framework and say, try it out when you get back to your team. I mean, I find most workshops and seminars or conferences do that. No, we actually practice these exercises in the summit where it's safe to fail because it's the best way to learn and to understand how to be better for next time when they're actually implementing these concepts and techniques and systems with their teams. Not only are there exercises in the workbook that demonstrate the key disciplines of leadership, they are also get out of your seat exercises to connect key concepts for a memorable experience. Number 8 is it's a personalized management and leadership plan. One of the worst crimes I think that workshops, training programs, and conferences do is that they provide a lot of great content and information only to be lost. I mean, there have been studies that have been proven over and over again that most of what you learn in any program that you go to is lost in just days after the program. And participants lose even more a week, a month, or a year later. I mean, think about some of the programs that you have been to in the past. How quickly did you go from super excited and ready to implement all these new ideas to not really getting around to implementing any of them? So in this summit, the first-time managers who participate in the summit will create a draft of their personalized management and leadership plan. It's a plan that fits them so that they can lead authentically. First-time managers will ultimately have a 12-month plan that they can commit to implement over the next year. That way, they are making a plan and a timeline to implement what they learn in the summit. Number 9 are 2 follow-up sessions. This is something also that I find workshops and seminars and conferences just don't do. The best first-time managers can do in a summit is to create a draft of their management and leadership plan. And I'm just not satisfied with that. I don't think that that really sets them up with the momentum for success. So each first-time manager will get a follow-up one-on-one session with me to polish their plan. And then additionally, the managers will have an opportunity for a second follow-up session where the management can include their manager in a follow-up session to present their plan for implementing their management and leadership plan. And of course, I'm also there to provide context and support. And then number 10, and I do this in all of my seminars, and this has been received very well by the participants. So I simply have to do this, is that Each participant will receive 2 curated books. So lastly, I feel that books are an invaluable resource for first-time managers. Books are what got me really started to learn what it takes to be an effective manager and leader. I have a library of books that I recommend to my leader coaching clients, and each first-time manager in the summit will receive 2 curated books. And these are books that I have specially selected for them as I get to know them and where they are in their career, and it will help them most immediately after the summit. Any book that I give to a participant is a book that I have personally read, and I can fully explain why this book is selected specifically for them. Now, your first-time managers, they may figure it all out on their own on the job, or they won't. And actually, as I said earlier, 60% of them, they won't succeed. And in the meantime, they are not performing at their highest level. And the team is frustrated and also not performing at their highest level. And the department that they lead or the organization they lead is also not getting what the manager and the team are fully capable of achieving. Your first-time manager won't have to figure it out on their own. You won't have to wait 24 months to find out if they will succeed. They can start now. As a manager of managers, what's the one thing that you wish first-time managers would know? What did you have to learn for yourself on the job as a first-time manager when you were a first-time manager? Now, if you can relate to anything that I shared today, or if you would like to ask me questions, I'd love to talk to you. You can schedule your free strategy call at ChristopherRJones.com, or you can put a comment right here and I'll respond. You can also DM me or reach out through my LinkedIn profile. To find out if your first-time manager is a good fit, just check out AuthenticSuccessOnline.com. It has all the details there. And with only 10 participants, you'll want your manager's name on the list sooner than later, like probably today. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn at I am Christopher Jones. You can find more information and other free resources when you go to ChristopherRJones.com. Hey, thank you for joining us today. Come back next week for another episode. Next week.